Claude Opus 5 is out, and most people are about to use it exactly like they used the last one, then wonder why nothing feels different. Here is what nobody says clearly. Opus 5 is not better because it answers faster. It is better because it can work on its own, for a long stretch, without you. Which means the habits that made you good at the old models are now the thing holding you back. If you break work into small steps, check every one, and tell it to double-check itself, you will get worse results than someone who hands it the whole job and walks away. So here is how to actually use it. 6 changes. Most of them are things you stop doing. First, what actually changed? 3 things matter for work you get paid for. 1. It runs longer without stopping. It can work through dozens of steps and come back finished instead of half done. 2. It checks its own work. It goes back, verifies, and fixes what it got wrong before it hands anything to you. 3. It is much better at the files you actually ship. Multi-sheet spreadsheets with real formulas, slide decks that follow slide design rules, documents that do not read like a chatbot wrote them, and it costs the same as the last one. Everything else follows from those. Change 1. Give it the whole job in the first message. This is the biggest one, and it feels wrong at first. The old habit was to feed it a piece, see what came back, correct it, feed it the next piece. That habit costs you real quality now. When you drip feed a task, it replans after every message you send, and it never sees the whole shape of the job. When you hand it the full task up front, it plans once, works straight through, and finishes. So, before you send anything, write the whole thing down. What you want, who it is for, what done looks like, what it must not do. That one paragraph is worth more than 20 follow-up messages. Change 2. Delete the words double check from your prompts. I know. Every prompting guide you have ever read says to add a verification step. On this model, that advice is backwards. Opus 5 already verifies its own work. If you tell it to verify, it verifies the verification, and you wait longer and pay more for nothing. Same goes for a separate review step in your process. If you built one for an older model, switch it off and compare. This is a delete, not a rewrite. Take the instruction out, and it gets better. Change 3. Tell it where the edges are. Opus 5 is eager. Ask for a fix, and it might tidy everything around it, add a feature you did not ask for, or quietly decide the task should have been something else. That is useful when you want a thought partner. It is expensive when you wanted one specific thing. So add one line. Deliver what I asked for, at the scope I asked for. If you think the approach is wrong, say so in a sentence, then do it anyway. That single line takes scope drift to almost nothing, and it will still warn you before you make a mistake. Change 4. Ask for less writing. Out of the box, Opus 5 writes long. Longer answers in chat, longer files on disk, more narration while it works. That is not a bug. It is a model trying to show you its work. But if you are sending documents to a client, it is padding. One sentence, asking it to keep responses focused and brief, cuts about 1/5 off the length, with no loss of substance. And if it is writing files, say that separately. Match the length of the document to the job. No filler sections. Change 5. Let it run. This is the one people find hardest. A hard task can sit there working for a long time inside a single request. If you are used to a reply in seconds, that pause feels like something broke. It did not break. It is working. The instinct is to interrupt, rephrase, and start over. Every time you do that, you throw away the plan it had already built. Set the task up properly, then leave it alone. Change 6. Give it your actual files. This is where it stops being a toy. Upload the spreadsheet, the deck, the contract, the add account export. It reads dense documents and charts far better than what came before, and it writes the file back out in the same format, formulas and all. So the move is not ask it a question about your numbers. It is hand it the file and tell it what you want to exist at the end. A cleaned model, a rebuilt deck, a summary for the client, as a file, not as a wall of chat text. One note, if you use this through the API or through Claude Code, there is a setting called effort. It is the biggest lever you have on cost and speed. High is the default. Extra high is for the hardest coding and agent work, but low and medium punch well above their weight on this model. So do not just crank it to the top. Test the lower settings on your real work. Most people are paying for effort they do not need. No work looks like this. You upload last quarter's ad performance, your offer, and your 2 best landing pages. Some looking and your masked slash looks some kids. And in one message, you say what you want. A rebuilt funnel plans, a revised offer, a new page, and the spreadsheet that models the numbers. The scope is brief. You go and keep it brief, then do not verify twice. To a finished set of files, not a conversation you had to babysit. That is the real change, not a smarter chatbot, a thing that finishes work. If you want the exact prompts I use for all 6, they are linked below. Free. Next one is on wiring this into the system that actually books the calls.